All right, go ahead.
Zach, a lot of folks will point to the offensive pass interference call and the missed field goal as the reasons why you guys lost the game. But we all know there are a lot of factors that go into losing football games. What jumped out to you when you reviewed the tape?
Not being detailed enough with our assignments, particularly in the first half. You look at the second half, left points on the board there in the third quarter. We kicked field goals instead of scoring touchdowns when we had some opportunities. And then the 2 turnovers led to, a minimum of a 6-point swing. One led directly to a field goal by them, and then the other one took at least 3 points off the board for us. So never should have come down to that for us. It's the Chargers are a good football team. They did some great things. They earned that victory. But certainly, as we watched the tape today, there was a lot of things we should have done a better job of.
There was quite a bit of hand-to-hand combat between receivers and defensive backs throughout the game, and a lot of times it wasn't called. To choose, real critical times to call it when it hasn't been called as a player, it's like, well, I've been able to do this, now I can't. That kind of puts you in a tough situation, doesn't it?
It's tough. We just got to try to play within the rules and make the plays that are there for us. But again, never should have come down to that one.
Any injury updates on Geno or Xavier or Sean or any of the guys that were out today?
I anticipate Xavier being out a couple weeks. The other guys, we'll just take them day to day this week. But he's the only one that we can go ahead and roll out for this game.
Do you have to go get a kicker, Coach?
Yeah. It doesn't seem that way right now.
Coach, when you look at the tape, obviously there are things that we can always say we can improve upon. But what did you like about yesterday? There were some things that were done well.
Well, the number one thing is our execution in 2 minutes. I thought that we did a really nice job with the protection. Had a lot of different receivers in there that maybe hadn't even gotten those reps in practice that went out there and executed really flawlessly. Guys did a good job managing the clock in that situation, getting the ball back to the official, getting the ball spiked. Guys were set quickly in a new formation, and we gave ourselves an opportunity to win the game. Obviously, we didn't do it, but I thought that 2 minute drive, and really it's the whole team there. You look at the defense getting a stop that was able to get us the ball back with plenty of time, and special teams certainly did some nice things as well. And then the offense went down there and got close to putting the game away, but we just didn't get it done.
Are you satisfied with the way Billy Price played in absence of Xavier?
Yeah, I think as a whole that unit got better as the game went on in a lot of ways, but there's still a lot of things we got to clean up.
Zach, how comfortable are you with the play of Bobby Hart? A lot of pressure yesterday and a penalty. We talked a little bit about before the season about potentially there being a battle there at right tackle. How comfortable are you with where he's at, and do you look into other options down the road and can start to consider that stuff?
He had some tough moments, and Bosa is arguably one of the best pass rushers in football. We might see one that's going to have the same argument this week in Myles Garrett. And so it's a tough task, and we got to take it upon as an offense to help take the pressure off those tackles when they face guys like that, because those guys are game wreckers. We knew that coming in, that Bosa and Ingram, that combination of the two was sometimes it was hard to even see all 11 on defense. All you saw when you watched the tape was those two and managing them. So we knew it was going to be a test for our guys, and we just got to help those guys as best we can.
Are you looking for a little more consistency out of John Ross?
I just think the receiver group as a whole, you can point to a lot of things that we just got to be more detailed on. And, we look at a lot of clips from practice, and we do a great job of in practice. And then your first game, you get out there, and whether you're just excited to be out there, whatever it is, but just overall as an offense. And it carried over a little bit on defense as well. Just we got to take it from practice to the game, and there should be no change.
8 of Joe Burrow's first 9 passes were shortened to his right. Was that by design for you guys, or how was he reading the game?
That's just the way that the hashes fell, not necessarily by design.
Does a quick turnaround help you guys after, a kind of a heartbreaking loss like that?
You don't have much time to dwell on it, that's for sure. At this point, it's put to bed for us. The guys are in there working out right now, and we got to quickly turn our attention to Cleveland, because they're a good football team, and I know they had a tough week 1, the way that game fell, but they're a good football team. They're well coached, and we got to work it out for us.
Coach, when you look at up the middle with DJ, Josh Bynes, and Von Bell, the 3 new additions, how do you think they played?
I thought they played well. I thought the defense as a whole gave us a winning performance, and we put them in tough position with the turnovers where they had to come back on the field. And that's where Los Angeles got some good runs, when our defense had to be on the field for too long. We got out of our gap on one third and one run that hit us for a big gain. But overall, I thought those guys performed well. They had some good 4th and 1 stands, 4th and 2 stands. They had some good goal line stands. Again, they limited the other team to enough to where we should have won that game. We just got to create more turnovers. That's the one area where we were really lacking.
Zach, you're a proud Okie and a Norman native here. How far did you follow Baker's career at Oklahoma a good amount when he was in school, or were you just too busy?
I was certainly aware of him. I always follow Oklahoma football just because my dad played there and I grew up there. But probably as much as just anybody else.
What kind of, as you've kind of studied him on a professional level here, what growth have you seen out of him, or what's kind of jumped out as you've watched his tape over the last couple of years?
He's got great twitch. He can get the ball out. He's an accurate player. He's tough. Seems like the guys like playing with him. He elevates their level of play. I don't know him personally. I haven't really been around him, but certainly when you're the number 1 pick in the draft, there's some special qualities about you.
Jack, when you're developing a first-year quarterback like you guys are right now with Joe Burrow, how important are win and loss results as opposed to his development?
Important. We want to win. You need that winning feeling. Just the difference you feel in the locker room and going through your week of preparation. That's all it comes down to. That's all that matters for us. Certainly we want to improve from week to week, but we got to find ways to win football games.
Zach, kind of a 1-2 punch yesterday in the backfield and kind of different styles. Talk a little bit about Chubb and Hunt and maybe how they are similar and different at the same time and the challenge they are.
Yeah, they're both special running backs, really. And, they had about the same play time yesterday. So obviously they're going to use both those guys and keep each other fresh. And that's certainly something that you got to be prepared for.
Zach,
I know you said –
Tyler, go ahead. I see you trying to ask a couple questions
there. AJ Green led the team in catches and receiving yards. What did you think about his first game back in nearly 2 years?
He's certainly a weapon. You can just see the explosion off the ball and the respect that he gets from defensive backs, and certainly somebody we can count on. But again, he falls in the category just like everybody else, and just like myself included, where there's some things we can improve on going into this Thursday.
Zach, I know you said you don't anticipate needing a kicker on Thursday night, but without one on your practice squad, how difficult in a short week in this COVID environment would it have been to get one by Thursday?
How important?
Or how difficult would it have been just for someone to clear protocol and to join you guys?
Yeah, not easy. It's Wednesday at the soonest and probably Thursday for most of those guys.
Coach, several players had praise for Joe Burrow just in terms of a little bit of adversity. He overcame that on that last drive to stay composed. Did you see the same thing as you were communicating with him, that he had that look in your eye that you expected?
What you see from him is he responds well from the previous play, whether it be positive or negative. And so you look at it, really, we had a turnover in the red zone that a lot of guys would have a hard time getting over. He didn't. There was no effect from that whatsoever. He probably beat himself up over it a couple minutes. We got the ball back, and he was focused and ready to lead us. And really, his execution was outstanding in that 2-minute drive, and did everything he had to do to give us a chance to go win the game.
He looked really comfortable when y'all were running true tempo, and that's probably an extension of being in that 3-minute offense. How do you kind of take that as a play caller? Do you incorporate that into future schemes and considerations when you're looking at game plans?
Yeah, we did. He understands the concepts and where the ball needs to go to attack the coverages. And again, I just thought our execution overall was really good in that last 2.5 minutes there, where guys were on top of their assignments. Guys that maybe hadn't even repped some of that stuff that we called, they did a really good job executing.
Coach, when your kicker misses a kick that's a potentially game-tying kick in the closing seconds, just a couple quarters after making a longer field goals, do you talk to him? Does Darren talk to him, or do you just let him go?
Absolutely. It's like any player that feels like they let the team down. When in reality, it fell on all of us. We all made mistakes in that game. And I think anybody watched the kick, he didn't kick it like he usually does. So obviously something happened. He cramped up. And he hasn't made any excuse for it. It's just what happened, and we just got to move on and be focused on Thursday.
But you guys were running even 5 wides a lot, which we hadn't seen before, and a lot of 5-man protection stuff, which obviously a lot of that was stuff that Joe brought with him from LSU. I mean, why were you so comfortable running all that out there in the first game, and how did you feel like that particular package of stuff went for you guys?
You got A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, John Ross, Mike Thomas, Auden Tate, Alex Erickson. I mean, you want to get those guys on the field, and there's a lot of weapons that we got. And so when you can put them on the field at the same time, at the receiving group, I'm talking, we got weapons all over the place, but it's just a package that we can utilize at certain points.
What's the biggest challenges with stuff like that? Obviously, you can't sit in that all day. I mean, it's got its. So what's the biggest challenges in picking and choosing your spots with that stuff like that?
Well, you got you got most of your receivers out there. And so, you try to manage the reps as best you can so they're fresh when you need them, in critical situations. But we like to look at it as a stress on the defense. It's they got some major problems when they look out there and see some of the matchups that creates.
A lot of linebackers matched up on wide receivers. I mean, that makes all parties drool there, doesn't it?
Yeah, most teams are going to struggle. They're going to have a mismatch at some place, and it's our job to find them.
Zac, Joe ended up running 8 times yesterday. How much of that, Joe Burrow, how much of that is the result of the pressure, and how much is that too many rushing attempts for your quarterback, or where do you think that lays?
Those all weren't by design for sure, but he does a good job extending the plays and protecting himself. And if he's not taking a hit and he's just sliding in green grass, I got no problem with him running. At the end of the day, I know people look at the rushes and say, oh, he maybe ran too much. But if you're not taking hits when you're crossing line of scrimmage, then there's really no downside to it. So it's just him picking his moments, being smart, protecting himself, knowing it's a 16-game season, understand what the situation is in the game and how aggressive you need to be with your body. And I think he knows how to manage all that.
Coach, talk about Jonah Williams, set out last year, first game in the NFL. What do you think about his performance yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he became a lot more consistent in the second half. I can't imagine having not played a game in, a year and a half basically, and then going out there and having to block the guys he did. So just offensive line as a whole really settled in that second half. And those guys were doing a great job with their communication and giving Joe plenty of time.
Joe said he checked out of, he checked into an audible. I think we asked you about it a little bit yesterday on that touchdown run. When it comes to a rookie, how do you balance what you want to load them with at the line of scrimmage as opposed to maybe a veteran like Andy, who's really familiar with the game and is comfortable with everything pre-snap?
He can handle a lot, and so, but again, he's honest with his communication on things that maybe he needs more information on, but there's different types of audibles as well. There's an audible where he straight up checks to a new play, and then there's 2 plays called in huddle, and you're just alerting everyone that you're changing into the second play. So he does a good job managing both types of audibles. After
studying the tape, Coach, assess the running game.
There were some good moments and some things we got to clean up, just like the protections really. And I think we started to find a good rhythm there in the second half. And again, unfortunately, when you're playing from behind there, at moments in the fourth quarter, you start moving the ball a little bit differently. But thought that we found some good things that we thought we would have there, and Joe and Gio ran hard.
Guys, let's do 2 more questions for Coach, and then we'll get him out of here.
Coach, there were a couple of plays in the first half that really didn't hurt that much. There was kind of a shovel pass by Joe that I think fell incomplete. Then the backward pass that Mixon recovered to make sure that there wasn't a fumble. Were those kind of rookie moments for Joe? The pass rush is a little bit different. Maybe he rushed it a little bit.
No, I know both of them you're talking about. The first one, he was in their grasp. He's just trying to get the ball to a check down, and it was a shovel pass that was incomplete. The second one was similar. That one I just mentioned was a second down play. The third down play, there are times that a third down sack really doesn't hurt you. I know people love to talk about the sacks. They gave up this many sacks. But there's sometimes on third down you want to take that extra second, and it's not going to kill you necessarily. And just like if you're in the low red zone on the third down, it doesn't kill you to try to extend the play a little bit longer to get that extra 4 points and take a sack there if you're still in field goal range. And so, again, there he was just trying to get the ball to the back and got pulled at the last second, and the ball got thrown as a lateral. We ended up losing 4 yards. Where you want to be mindful is when you're in the middle of the field and you got a great chance to flip the field with the punt. You want to be smart about the yards that you're leaving on the field. Sometimes that -4 can hurt you, as opposed to a 6-yard gain on 3rd and 15 can really help you flip the field. So those are just situations that I think he does a good job understanding and continue to learn more from as he gets more reps.
Regarding the memo the league sent out about the mandatory mask usage, how difficult was that to talk over the headset, to talk face-to-face with somebody, and would you possibly consider a shield like Andy Reid used?
I think you got to consider everything. It's your livelihood. We live off the communication in a critical moment, and you want to be able to speak clearly. And so I got to continue to work on the best way to make that happen.
All right,
Coach Dave Lapham could probably tell you that the Battle of Ohio back in the day was sort of the one game you had to win for obvious reasons. Do you feel like that the rivalry against the Browns still sort of holds any sort of that weight in the locker room at all, or is it just another divisional game?
We don't really like anybody in our division. So all these games have a little added importance. And, that's the key to get where we want to go is you got to win the division. And so this is our first opportunity this season. We're only going to get 6 of them. I wouldn't say there's a lot of love in our locker room for these guys. So that gets us through the week of practice.
All right, Coach, we'll get you out of here. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.